Hi, this is Alan.
Hi, this is Dionysus.
And this is Braiker, and welcome to Magic Hour, a podcast about all things treasure and magic related. This is episode 3, and in this episode, we're going to spend the entire time talking about all the small things, Smolverse, if you will. But first, we're going to do a little news and notes around the treasure sphere. And Alan, why don't you share with us what piqued your interest this week?
This has kind of been out for a while, I guess. As most of us know now, that Smol coin is going to be a utility token that's going to be used in the Smolverse. And even John actually tweeted this on Twitter about a couple of weeks ago. Not a couple of weeks ago, I'd say, but a week and a half ago. And he also said that they're trying to input into like alternative projects as well. So I think that's going to be really cool.
And definitely related to this episode. Thanks for sharing that. And Dion, what about you?
Yeah, I have two topics that are noteworthy. The first is that Magic is getting noticed and promoted by some larger influencers. Recently, Elio Trades mentioned Magic on his live stream. The premise of the show centered around some projects that were continuing to build during the pretty brutal downtrend in crypto that we just experienced, and Magic was one of those projects. I like Elio a lot. I would recommend checking out his YouTube channel and look for the stream. I think it's on the 25th, and you'll find the Magic segment around the 30-25 mark. The second topic is this new Twitter handle called Dark Treasure NFT. No spaces and treasure is singular. I have absolutely no clue what this Twitter handle is for. And they only have one tweet, which is relatively cryptic. And it says, and I quote, "Smuggling magic and treasures back to the underworld." The only alpha I can give about this is John Patton himself, and I think some other team members follow them. I'm not entirely sure if that constitutes as an endorsement, but I'd give them a follow.
Very interesting. I'm going to have to check that out. I like cryptic stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Thanks for sharing that. What was interesting for me was the Enjoyer team. Is that how you say it? Enjoy. How does everybody say the ors?
I just say enjoyer, to be honest. And honestly, I guess people kind of get the.
Is it supposed to be like enjoy your?
That's right.
You know.
You have to prolong. You got to prolong.
You have to emphasize the ors.
Yeah.
The Enjoyer team made a Twitter posting about how they are going to be the first project to launch on the Trove marketplace.
Yes.
It was kind of faux angry, it sounded like to me, like they were disappointed, but they also use it as a way to create some sort of animosity between them and the Smols. And I think it will be interesting to see how that drama plays out.
Again, yeah, it kind of just depends on people's opinions, and I obviously do understand that, some people are disappointed that seeing that it's going to go onto the Trove marketplace first. But personally, I didn't hear too many bad remarks on it, to be honest. And personally, I don't think that's a bad idea at all. I mean, considering Trove, being the next marketplace that's going to be implemented sometime soon. I mean, obviously, we don't know when, but I honestly think it's going to definitely give more of a leverage to Trove and give it more of an importance to, actually take a look upon and kind of give it, I guess, the welcoming project to the entire marketplace itself. And I mean, Enjoyer has so much, coverage, and just everyone's so into Enjoyer and stuff like that from the Smolbrains community. And I feel like it's just a way to, just bridge on the Smolverse, just the Smol family, and to just bridge it onto Trove as well. So I don't definitely think it's a bad idea, what they're trying to do. But at the same time, I do understand that some people want it to be on Treasure itself and just want to keep it all, I guess you could say, within the Treasure ecosystem. But in my own opinion, I don't think it's a bad idea at all.
I would agree with you there. I think this is just a marketing play for them. I think people are going to buy it wherever it lands, and maybe them keeping the Treasure marketplace separate is more of a architecture of the code type of situation where it would probably be a very large undertaking for them to expand the Treasure marketplace itself, rather than just build a separate Trove marketplace and hopefully link them together in some fashion. All right, let's get to the bananas and coconuts of this episode. Smolverse. As some of you regular listeners might know, I personally do not have any Smols.
You still don't have any Smols? Even from last year?
I still don't have any Smols.
Oh.
No.
Oh, man.
After this episode, you might want to go buy one.
Oh, yeah.
I might. I don't own any Smols. I think about buying one every day, but also right now don't really have the liquidity to do so. And truth be told, my Legion Genesis is locked, and I'm just kind of diamond handing that at the moment, as well as my Auxiliary Legion. And I have a couple treasures, so I feel pretty good right now as it relates to Magic. But I'm still happy for all the Smols out there, including yourselves. At the end of the day, we're all going to make it. So let's talk about Smallverse and make me cope even more. Guys, why don't you first tell me, how did you get on the whitelist for minting a Smol, and tell me about the minting process? Because once I found out that I wasn't getting it, I kind of turned my brain off of it for a little bit.
As for most of the people in the treasure ecosystem now, Small Brains was kind of the highlight, or I guess, I mean, I say this all the time, but I guess the gas to light the fire for the treasure ecosystem. And even for me, I didn't know what treasure ecosystem was. I didn't know anything, and I didn't even trade on L2 or just on the Arbitrum network in general. I just then never bought anything on there either. I just just stuck to regular OpenSea NFTs and just kind of did my trading over there. But I actually found the Small Brains, just the project itself, by an exclusive alpha Discord that I've been in, and I've been in it quite a while. And I mean, hats off to those guys. They're amazing people, and they always share amazing projects in there. It's called the mutual Discord, and I can definitely link that down for you guys for the people who want to join.
Another Discord to join, exactly what I'm looking for. Continue. Sorry.
But yeah, it's more of like, it's not even just more of just people. It's kind of like, I guess you could say the one, the Discord as well. It's just a calm collective effort by everyone in the community that just tries to work together to, I mean, make money, I guess. But that's where I found Small Brains as well. They kind of shilled it out to us, and it's like, this is a free mint apparently, and it's gonna be on this marketplace and stuff like that. And they're like, definitely keep a lookout on it. And they told me about it long before they had their whitelist. So I think I was in the Discord almost around, I'd say, mid-October time, I believe, around there, as far as I can remember. And I was actually, it's kind of funny, I was at a party, one of my family friends' party, and my buddy, he texted me, and he was like, man, pinging me on Discord. He was like, Small Breeze whitelist, Small Breeze whitelist. So I just got a paper from just one of my family friends, and I just quickly drew a picture of a monkey and put my Discord tag in as fast as I could and threw in the picture and stuff like that. And I honestly I didn't even think I was gonna get whitelist, because by that time Small Breed started to get a little bit more traction than usual. I think they had about like a good amount of people in the Discord by that time as well. So I didn't really think I was gonna get it, but surprisingly I did. And during that time I was just looking for more projects to dwell into. But for some reason, just for some reason, in my heart, I had just an intuition that Small Brains was actually going to be something, and it was kind of just that, I guess you could say, that leap of faith that I kind of had. It's a free mint, and who doesn't like free mints, right? So that was kind of my goal. That, not really my goal, but my hope that Small Brains would do really, really well. And I mean, like, you can look at it now; it's done absolutely amazing, even though they still are extremely undervalued. But we'll definitely talk about that.
I never say no to a free mint myself, so completely
Exactly.
understandable. What about you, Dion?
Yeah, I guess similarly, I too was unfamiliar with the treasure ecosystem at this time, and I knew very little about it to next to nothing. I was trolling around the one Discord in the middle of the day. I was in a work meeting, and everyone was saying there's this hilarious free mint that's going on where all you have to do is draw a monkey. And I was in the right place at the right time, quickly drew a monkey that I still look back on to this day. And I got whitelisted. Very fortunate, but I was familiar with L2s. I had never been on Arbitrum. The entire thing was something that I did just because you never fade free, like y'all are saying. However, I never thought much of it. I never thought it was going to take off. I kind of forgot about it again until the mint actually happened in like late November. I had to be reminded by people posting about it in the one again that I had a whitelist. So all of it was right place, right time, and really never leaving the one.
For sure. And by the way, I want you guys both to send me your hand-drawn monkeys so that we can post them on Twitter when this episode goes live.
Oh no! I'm definitely not an artist.
That's
I'm gonna
okay.
frame
That's okay.
mine. Yeah, I'm framing
It's okay.
mine, dude. Are you kidding me?
I
Think
mean,
about
yeah,
it.
honestly,
That monkey is that monkey that you drew that you're not an artist for actually might be worth more than like some real art would be. So
You're right. Honestly, I mean that's like it's kind of the sometimes when you just zoom out and just kind of realize I mean we're still so early into treasure and just small brains in general. I mean realistically, there hasn't really been a lot that's kind of come up for small brains just yet. But I mean when you just kind of look back and just think that the fire was just lit from just drawing a picture of a monkey, and whether that's a good picture, whether that's a bad picture. It all just started just from that picture, and look how far we've already come, and yet we have so much further to still go. And it just kind of still amazes me sometimes when I think about it, and I'm like, damn, like I can't believe just for me drawing that picture. Look at how much has actually been done, and honestly, I mean, for a lot of people, and I say this a lot as well, like treasure ecosystem itself, and even small brains has changed many lives, even my life. And it's just really shocking to see how just that one picture really did just change a lot of people's lives. And I mean it's kind of the I guess you could say the gem for NFTs. Anything can happen any second, and you know there's just life-changing moments that happen every second, every single day when you're into this type of space. And I feel like that's something that just amazes me every single day when I just look at everything.
yeah, you're absolutely right. And going back to the mint, did you each get a male small, or was it a male or female, or was the female given to you? I don't know how most people ended up with a couple. Did they buy them?
That's
Someone
a
help
great
me.
question. They were actually given both a male and a female. So the pair is integral to utility and functionality that is yet to be released. But the idea is they will be making babies in the near future.
Yes. And I also believe we got land as well, as far as I remember. So we got a male small brain, a female small brain, and a piece of land as well if you minted small brains. So
So just so everyone out there is clear, you got 3 NFTs for free just from drawing a monkey.
Correct.
yep, exactly. And
Please
yeah,
continue.
no, that's the shocking part about it too. And they're all free, and each of them are worth literally more than an ETH now as well. And that's just again, I always say, like, every single time I zoom out, it's just always just so shocking to me to realize, like, how is this even possible? Especially because it's free too. Like, who would have thought that a free NFT would, three of them, would all be worth this much? And yet they are still very, very undervalued in my opinion. But no, yeah, I definitely like to talk about more about the breeding as well, as you were saying, Dion. Definitely to keep talking about that.
Yes.
Well, we'll get to
we'll
the
get to
breeding, I think, but breeding hasn't happened yet. I want to know about like the land. When did you receive the car? Right, the car came next, right?
So the cars were the airdrop, yes, and they came. I'm not. I believe they came about a couple weeks later after the Small Brains mint. I think it came about almost about.
Right. Wait, maybe I'm jumping ahead.
Yeah, I think we can take a step back and talk about. So we have the land, and then we have the male and the female smalls. So the
And their
original
brains are supposed to grow, right? That's the whole
absolutely.
point.
And so your NFT, your two monkeys start out with 0 IQ. They have small brain, and you stake them on the land. So you go to, I think, smallverse.lol, and you would approve the contract, approve to stake, and then stake your two small brains, and they would earn about 50 IQ per week. So you, every time you check in on your small brain, they would incrementally increase their IQ, go from 0 IQ 1 week, or on day one, and then like 15 IQ on day two, all the way up to, well, actually, they get to about 300 IQ, and that's when their brain stops growing. The NFT has a function within it so that you actually see physically your small brains growing in size as they reach, I think, every 50 IQ point mile marker. So
That's hilarious.
it's
I
so
love
funny.
I
Yeah.
love it. The whole idea of it.
Exactly.
It's very tongue in cheek for Web3 NFTs too, right? Because it's like a meme, like we're all small brain, but then we become giga brain over time, right?
Exactly.
Exactly.
So the IQ, that's just kind of, I guess, a modifier, right? It's not a token.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, understood. Because
And
some people might think staking and you get IQ and then be like, oh, is there a token? Because
absolutely.
we talk about that. So good to know.
Yeah, good point. And so in parallel to your small brain being staked on the land also was growing with your small brain, and there were new inventions or technologies that were being added onto the land. And so every time that you would check in on your small brain and be like, oh, I'm curious about what my small brain's IQ is, or the average staked small brain's IQ is, you would also have a new visual cue for what's occurring on Small Brain Island. Well, actually, I'm a little bit less familiar with all of the specifics, the specific new technology breakthroughs. I tried to get a list, but I couldn't obtain one. Alan, do you remember what the first technological breakthrough was by chance?
Again, yeah, it's been a while. I'm not too, as far as I don't remember completely, but I'm pretty sure we had a big crack in, that was one of the first ones at least. We had a big crack in the floor. And so, no, sorry, that was a lot after. First we just had a regular piece of land, and I think we started getting, I believe, was I honestly don't remember, to be honest. I think it might have been a road or something like that, I believe, or
It's
maybe
okay. It's okay.
yeah.
Basically, the more your brain grew, the more your land developed, right? Because now you can see that they have a house and they have a
Exactly.
driveway, and you know,
It's kind of
I
part of the
understand that
story to grow with the brains as well. And, as the increased IQ, it kind of progresses down the storyline of small brains in general. And, I feel like they also did this to, create a timeline for themselves as well. To, like when you reach 300 IQ, something else would have happened. And, it's kind of going with the entire process of the story that they want to continuously keep up with the Smallverse as well. So.
for sure. And what IQ is each of your smalls at?
Both of the ones that I actually staked on the first day. So right when I minted these, I was like, boom, I'm gonna stake these, and I'm just gonna wait till I get that 300 IQ. So that was my goal. And right now, I mean, I'm pretty sure there are some people who have higher IQ than me as well. And for those of you who didn't actually join the town hall, I think it was a couple of days ago, they actually incentivized for the people who, for the OGs and who were listening to the podcast of Smallverse. They said that the people who have been staking since, the very, very first second, they're actually going to, they possibly, don't quote me on this, but they possibly might end up getting something extra special as well. I don't know if it's an airdrop or whatever it might be, but they definitely might be getting something as well, because I guess they're regarded as the true diamond handers. But my small brains right now are sitting around 506 IQ, so I definitely don't think that's too bad at all.
Yeah, and outside of what was mentioned in the town hall, there is no net utility to having a higher IQ than any other small brain. Correct?
Yeah, as of right now, yes. As of right now, we don't have anything to go with the IQ. Again, as I was saying, I guess you could say it's kind of just not anymore. But at first, to reach 300 IQ was kind of the schedule and like the timeline that I guess the small dev team definitely wanted to work with it, and kind of keep on track towards, and have people to also keep up with the schedule as well with everything that was going on. But as of right now, there isn't anything that's stated that the IQ will actually have something to do with later on in the Smallverse.
Absolutely. So going back to the small lands and the technological advancements that happened along the way, while we may not know the specifics, to Breaker's point, you could see the evolution of both your small brain's brain and the land that accompanied them. Eventually, there was a crisis on Small Island. There was a huge volcano. And one of the technological advancements was a launch pad where a rocket ship was held. You had the opportunity to board the rocket ship and be on the first mission out to some unknown lands. I want to say this happened about 2 or 3 weeks ago. It happened in early January.
Hmm.
Yeah, I feel like it was like right. It's just like the volcano maybe like was just after the holiday.
That's right.
Yes, as far as
Maybe
I believe.
Yes. So you now there's an evolution. So currently, your Smalls, all of the Smalls who have boarded the rocket have received basically like pioneer status and are bestowed some special items not yet released or to be determined. While don't worry if you have not, or if you are a new to the Smallverse and you would like to purchase a Smolbrain, there will be other trips to the moon, which is where we ended up. Hilariously enough, there will be other trips to the moon, but there is a special status that was allowed those pioneers. And so we'll see how that nets out, possibly with future airdrop, which will be very interesting. Which there are quite a few. I know that we mentioned cars, so I guess a quick recap was you minted your small brains and your land. You staked your small brains onto the land to reach 300 IQ, all while seeing a very cool evolution of the monkey island and a average IQ of all the monkeys combined slowly rise up to around 300. As soon as 300 was met, there is a volcano, and we built a rocket to escape the volcano and land on the moon, where we're currently also building new technologies and evolving there as well.
do you have the moon? Do you have Moonland also, or did your land turn into the moon?
Great question. So the land is the same.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like you need to purchase a new set of land. The land is the same across the land on Earth to the land on the moon.
Oh, so it just it changes with the, I guess, evolution of the story. I love that. That's such a
Yeah,
great mechanic.
absolutely.
I love the interactivity of the NFTs because it's almost a very dynamic one. And I know some folks might be averse to that because it's like sometimes you like the art that you have on the NFT, and that's fine for an art NFT. But in this particular instance, there's a story being told here, and the story is being told through the pictures on the NFT. So awesome.
Exactly. And honestly, that's kind of what I like. I mean, apart from Bridge World and, everything else in Treasure, that's something that I also really appreciate that the small team is kind of correlating towards. And, they kind of also mentioned this in the town hall as well, that they want to make small brains and just small verse in general. And they just want to make it more of, a fun, interactive, a really relaxed type of ecosystem and just, somewhere where people can actually just enjoy rather than in Bridge World where, you're always doing a bunch of calculations, just always doing a lot of, analysis and what's your next move should be, what should be your next plan, what do I do this, should I do this or that? And, it's kind of always giving yourself a little bit of a headache, but, they really want to make Small Brain something that is really enjoyable for everyone, something that everyone can have fun with, can, all communicate with and just experience all together. And I really enjoy that. And I think that's definitely something that is going to happen as well. And I mean, even in the town halls, I mean, for the people who have joined, you definitely realized, I mean, the debate between Arcanic and another enjoyer dev, they were definitely going right at it, and I mean the chat was going absolutely insane. So I really appreciate how the small team is trying to make that their motto for Smallverse, and I think that's going to be really cool.
Awesome. All right, so the cars now were delivered to you on the land. That happened before the volcano, right?
Right.
Exactly.
But the car is also an NFT. So now, again, we're up to 4 NFTs that you got for free. When did the small, what is it, swalls or
Smalls. Yep.
Small bodies.
small
Yeah.
body, but they call them swalls?
On the treasure marketplace, they're under small bodies. SMOL.
Okay.
But people call them Swolls just as a nickname. So
Right, because they're just like, I guess it's the same.
Jackmans.
Well, their muscles grow over time, similar in the same way that the brains grow for the monkeys, right?
Exactly. So they use the same mechanic for the small bodies as well, and as for small brains, they gain IQ and their head sizes increases as they're staked, and vice versa for small bodies, their arms grow and they also gain plates for as long as they're staked as well. So they kind of added the same staking mechanism for small bodies, just as it did for small brains as well.
Interesting. And so are they planning an entire separate storyline for the small body?
Well, honestly, I mean, this just happened just recently as well in the town hall, and the main goal, even from before, people who were in the
What
project
just
early
happened?
times.
What
mean,
just happened?
what just happened was they're actually starting to. Everyone made a decision. There was a voting that happened in the Smallverse to whether they want to.
What was the vote for?
The vote was to leave the small bodies on Earth, or to bring them along with us to the moon. Exactly.
Interesting. So are they gonna have to board the rocket?
Yeah, they've already boarded and they're already on their way. They're already on their way to the moon. Yep.
So they decided. So the vote was for them to leave Earth, and everybody voted for them to leave Earth.
Exactly.
That's what you're telling me.
I mean,
okay.
The majority of the percentage won the vote to say that they want to leave the Earth and to save the small bodies, because the entire lower end storyline was that the volcanic eruption happened on Earth and small bodies were stuck there. And the Smolbrains community, Smolverse community, kind of had to decide whether they want to save the small bodies or do they want to leave them on the Earth. And
I love this story. This is great. I'm all interested in now.
Yeah, it's really cool. I loved it.
I might just go out and like buy the whole set now, just because I'm like, wow, I'm invested. Just hearing you guys talk about it, wow.
And majority of the decision was, to save the small bodies, and now they're on their way to the moon as well. And actually, this was also stated on the town hall that now the small bodies Discord and the small brains Discord are going to be merged together. So it's all going to be put into one. I'm not too clear on how all that's going to work in terms of everyone's roles, whether there's an OG small body or whether there's an OG small brain and stuff like that. But I'm pretty sure everything's going to be figured out. They're just, do their little tweaks and stuff like that. But that was a big news. That was a very, very big news. And surprisingly, majority of the people were excited for it. But I was hearing a lot of people, having some different opinions on having the small bodies join the small brains Discord as well, just because I guess you could say people thought that Small Brains was more of the highlighted project, even though they were in the same Smallverse to begin with. People kind of just had the opinion stated towards Small Brains being the main project that was, I guess you could say, the highlight.
While I can understand the trepidation by some people, I feel like the Venn diagram of people in the small brain Discord and people in the small bodies Discord overlaps so much that it really doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, you're right.
It's probably better for like everybody to be in one less Discord.
Exactly. Yeah, so you don't have to keep jumping into two different ones and having to check up on the alpha every single time.
We're gonna have to do a Discord count one of these days.
Definitely.
All right, so I think we covered all the, by the way, 5 NFTs that you got for this monkey drawing, and now we're kind of at the turning point, right? So this past week, we were supposed to receive a lot of information from the small team. Am I right in that regard?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. But they did not deliver. And I think we found out today that they did not deliver because one of the lead devs had a personal issue, which I hope everything was okay. Life happens sometimes. So completely understand that. And just disclaimer, we can all be like in this as much as we want, but sometimes it's good to disconnect. So for whatever reason, the dev couldn't be available to provide the updated information. That being said, they did release a Medium article a couple weeks ago, kind of laying out their roadmap, and I think it's good. It would be good for us to talk about that and review all the upcoming milestones, such as the treasure farming, right? So first they had the community vote, which was on the roadmap. They hit that one. Next up is this treasure farming. And what do we think is going to happen here? Because they're talking about there will be several rounds of treasure farming before we arrive on our new planet. Smalls will be able to journey out on quests to bring back resources and equipment.
So I think that Smalls will be in some way a mirror of the mechanics of Bridge World. And the same way that in Bridge World you can go and quest and receive treasures, Smalls will also be able to go and quest and receive treasures. But I think the important thing to delineate between here is the fact that the treasures that the Smalls will be receiving, at least at first, will be unique to the Small universe. They will not be receiving the same treasures that you can go and purchase and look at on the treasure marketplace. While it may be a possibility that they can actually farm treasures in the future.
Got it. I think that makes a lot of sense for them. It also makes sense that it would likely be a similar mechanic that they are utilizing in Bridge World, just from a developer point of view. It's like you can replicate the code very easily. And well, that's pretty exciting. So you're just going to get more of these free NFTs now. Lucky you guys. Next up, they were supposed to release some information about founders plots. How is this different? So I guess you have your land, which is your evolving NFT for the scenery in the storyline, but what would be a founders plot?
That was kind of something that I guess was on everyone's mind before the town hall, because we didn't have too much information, on anything that was listed on the medium. But someone actually asked the same question on the town hall as well and answered it, and we still don't have too much information based off of it on the specific criterias of founders plots. But essentially, what the founders plot is going to be is it's going to be exclusive to people who I guess were contributing to the community or were someone I guess important to the community. I guess you could say, and apparently having the OG Smolbrain role was also going to be it would also I guess play a factor into that as well. But founders plots are just going to be upgraded land. So it's going to be an exclusive land that was just given to some members of the community that stood out or I guess contributed a lot. And I mean, I personally think those are going to be worth quite a lot on the treasure marketplace. I'm not too sure whether they actually provide something in terms of the Smallverse as of right now. I believe it's just, I guess, the aesthetic look of it, I guess. But I mean, anything can happen, right? We don't. There's so much to yet still be discovered in the Smallverse, and I mean, we're just getting started. So I definitely think that there's going to be something to have to be done with those as well. But all we know for now is that founder spots are just going to be upgraded land that are just exclusive to just people who contributed to the community itself.
Yeah, and I don't expect there to be a huge market for them, because it seems like to me, especially, that if they're being given to community members who have contributed, as well as like ultimate OGs, I feel like these people are going to be diamond handing it and really holding on to it, because if they just turned around and flipped it, the founders would be like, well, why do we give that to them in the first place?
Exactly. No, you're 100% right. I think it's just, going to be like a gift of appreciation for being within the community and just, you know, going along the journey with them as well. But I mean, that's kind of what I grained, when when people were asking questions in the town hall about the founder spots. And that's kind of the thing that we don't know too much about yet, because the criteria is not exactly set in stone for founder spots and, who gets them and what they have to do to get them as of right now. But definitely coming close to the time where they release founder spots, I hope we'll receive more information on that as well.
Well, it's funny y'all are saying there might not be a big market for them, or I actually I have a different view. I think that one thing that the Treasure team has done extremely well is reward OGs and early adopters. And I think that we see that with Bridgerworld and the Genesis Legion that were rewarded to people that bridged from Ethereum to Arbitrum. I think that they received either a numerary or a riverman. I think it was a riverman, right? Because you're bridging the river.
Yeah, I got a riverman for bridging all those treasures.
Yeah, I think that there will be a market for them, because I think that they will probably imbue very meaningful utility into the founder's plot that will be highly sought after.
That's likely true as well. So I could see both sides of it, but as we all know, there's always a market for something. Everybody's got a price at the end of the day. I think a Bored Ape just sold for over 1,000 ETH today. Just
Wow,
craziness. Yeah,
that is nuts. That is absolutely nuts.
I know. Moving on the roadmap. So after Founders Plots, we have Small Pets. So they just show some paw emojis, a little monkey head, and a brain. So I guess uh, these are going to be similar to the small bodies, or just going to be more like a Tamagotchi type of thing.
As far as I believe, it's just going to be another airdrop. Um, that's at least kind of what I gained the grasp of the idea of as. So I think it. I think, and I believe. I don't quote me on this, but I believe small bodies get pets as well. I'm not too sure about that. I think they do, or they get some sort of airdrop that's kind of correlating to small bodies as well. But I'm not too aware of in terms of small pets and what they're going to be doing with those as well. But I mean, they're definitely going to have to play into some sort of account into Smolverse. So
Yeah, and that's another free NFT that you're getting. So now we're up to like 7 or 8. I don't even know where we're at right now. Again, that one monkey drawing.
It is a lot of NFTs, and I think another important thing to think about, just like the ethos of this ecosystem, and specifically with Smalls, is that every Smalls item, this is from one of the head devs and a pinned message in the Small Discord. Every Smalls item will be in some way stakeable, if not to upgrade quality, then to earn resources like coconuts, bricks, etc., that you can use to earn bigger items. And those bigger items, again, are just instruments to mine more magic. While that's not currently available to Smalls, I would imagine that your Smalls IQ may possibly factor into it, your Smalls car, your Smalls pet, their backpack, which is also another airdrop that we have not discussed, that is also yet to come. So all of these
That's
things,
not even on the roadmap. There's a backpack too.
yep.
Yep, there's a
What are you gonna
backpack.
put in your backpack?
Probably all the treasures you find.
Yeah, or honestly, I mean, people were also speculating, and I think this is a really, really cool idea, and it would be absolutely insane if they did this as well. But apparently, people are saying when you go on quests, you could use your bag to even hold more coconuts to, get more magic. So that's also a really, really awesome idea that I heard, and honestly, that would be absolutely insane if they actually implemented that as well. But I don't. I remember hearing the town halls when they discussed that they won't be dropping backpacks, not just yet, and they're going to be taking a little bit with their time in terms of dropping that airdrop. And I mean, it's understandable, right? With all of these other things they're dropping, we definitely have to give them some leeway. And plus, they stated that it also had to work along with the timeline of the story as well. So I guess along with the story that continues to unhatch, then we're gonna also we'll also find out what the small backs truly are worth and what they're going to represent in the Smallverse.
Yeah.
But that idea honestly really was it really clicked to me, and that seems like an awesome idea that I heard. So
Oh no, it's definitely an awesome idea, and I think I think you touched on something that when you think about it, the treasure team has exhibited this really kind of engaging cadence where they deliver something for Smalls while they're working on stuff for Bridge World, and then while they're working on stuff for Smalls, they're delivering stuff on Bridge World. Even though they're technically two separate teams, there's kind of this ebb and flow to it, which really keeps the Magic community engaged, whether you're in the Small project or the Bridge World project. Together, there's always information flowing. Something new is happening almost every week. I think this week it's been a little kind of a lull for a bit, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But for the most part, it's really kind of been rewarding to be a part of this community in that regard.
yeah, definitely. I mean, like it's something that I always say, and what I find the beauty of the treasure ecosystem as well. I mean, of course, there are multiple projects on treasure ecosystem, and they all do their own thing. But I always get this type of vibe, and I mean, from everyone, it's not just people. I mean, majority of people, at least I could say, they're not just invested into just one single project itself. Only Bridge World, or only Life or only Small Brains. I always find people that are just somehow just intertwined to each and every project, and they just whether it's even just having a small treasure into Bridge World or just having a car into Small Brains, everyone is somehow just sort of connected into each and every project within the ecosystem as well. And honestly, I just find that so amazing to see.
Yeah, it's really awesome. Um, moving on to the other two pieces in the roadmap. These are upcoming February 6th and 13th. I would imagine that they're probably going to be pushed back a little bit due to the delays for the other roadmap items, but there's going to be a vote for a galaxy followed by a vote for a planet and what to name it. I think we can all expect that that's going to be a just more part of the storyline. Who knows? You'll probably get another 50 NFTs out of that whole thing. And then they have Smallville landing in March, which I can only imagine is a whole metaverse of Smalls broader than what we're doing right now.
Absolutely. There's a ton to come. It'll be really interesting to see how these galaxies kind of shape our quests, our airdrops, and our ways to eventually mine, stake, and acquire more magic.
Absolutely. It's going to be an exciting few weeks if the small team can start delivering. Although if they don't deliver within the next week or so, I think that the community will get probably a little impatient, and that could certainly affect the market price. But then again, that happens, I might just be a buyer.
Exactly. I mean, I think people have to understand as well, I mean, I saw in a couple of Discords, people are gonna kind of getting a little upset even on just the delays and, the small team not meeting, deadlines and I guess you could say staying punctual. But I mean, for the past 2 months now, they have been over delivering by far of anyone's expectations in this entire ecosystem. And how highly they've just been clearing everyone's expectations on just how treasure ecosystem was going to go and just everything that they've been doing for us in general. I mean, these airdrops, these free mints. I mean, I'm extremely grateful, and I remember John also touched upon this as well, and a lot of people had questions towards John, whether it was in some live spaces or town halls, and he gets this question all the time. People are always asking him, are we going to get more airdrops for the OG minters, or are we going to get more exclusive items, or just something more to give to the OGs and the Smallverse? And I think people really have to sometimes understand, how much we've already gotten within the Smallverse itself. I mean, everyone who minted Smolbrains got small bodies as well, free whitelist if you claimed it. And I mean, plus these you got cars, 2 cars, and you also are getting, just
Wait, you
a
got
whole other
you got
bunch of
two
stuff.
cars? You got
Yeah,
two cars?
Well,
exactly.
you need one for the cup, one for each in the couple. I mean, yeah, if you total all of the NFTs that you have been dropped, if including, so I didn't even sign up for the small bodies NFT. I feel terrible about it, but I didn't realize. Um, but if you total everything up, not even including small bodies, at current floors and at current magic prices, you're talking about 30,000 or 32,000, give or take, right now today.
That's stupid. That's
Like, that's insane.
It's stupid.
That's absolutely insane. And I was just saying it as just in the fact that it all came from the free mint. And I mean, obviously, people just have questions to ask, right? Like, are the OGs going to get more? Just, I guess whether they want to have the incentive to whether they want to stay staked or not, or, whatever their plans are. But I think people just have to kind of just take a step back and sometimes realize, how much we were already given and how much it's just kind of just been gifted to us. I mean, I kind of just take this all as a gift, to be honest. It's all completely free. So, I mean, it kind of is just realistically a gift itself.
It's very rewarding. It's very rewarding.
Exactly. It's extremely rewarding. And, I feel like every single person who ended up getting a chance to or just have a Smolbrain in general should be extremely grateful.
Absolutely. And we actually haven't even touched on the breeding potential.
Exactly.
Because I know everybody's got a male and a female, and we talked about this early on. We were going to get to it, but we didn't even get to it. What's the deal with the breeding? They haven't even announced anything, but everybody expects it, right?
Yeah. And Alan, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I understand breeding to be an important mechanism within questing. So your
Yes.
monkeys breed together and their offspring, their children, get sent to go questing and return back with treasures. So I think with questing, with treasure farming, if you will, unless that's a completely different mechanism, treasure farming and questing, which they might be, then breeding will come quite soon. So, as far as I understand it, the idea is you breed and you have multiple offspring, and you can breed maybe not necessarily infinitely, but there will probably be some mechanism for breeding. You can breed, send your offspring out to go treasure farming, but it's dangerous. It's dangerous out there. You could
Yeah.
run into aliens or whatnot, so you might lose some of your offspring. They might die or get lost in the perils of space.
No, definitely. You're spot on with that. And I mean, for those who are also holding, a rarer Smolbrain, and sometimes, they kind of get the feeling of selling it, just sweeping floors. I mean, that breeding process might also come into play with, the rarity of your Smolbrain or small body as well. And, they might end up having higher traits for the offspring, and that might correlate to how they're implemented within the quest as well. Again, this is all still very, very new, and these are all just speculations, but I think that would be definitely a pretty cool mechanism that if they were to add that within the quests, if the rarities also had to do something with the offspring and what they're capable of doing as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. What rarity are your smalls? And maybe you can tell me like what color, what key trait are you happy about? What excites you about your particular small?
Happily, I have two smalls, one male, one female. My female has both are not rare at all. They're basically floor, but my male I like the most, not because my female isn't cool, but the male has an eye patch, and outside of that, he doesn't have anything else. He's like completely naked. So he's a little bit of character to him, a little space piratey. I really like him for that.
Right on.
Yeah, for mine, honestly, I have a strong sentiment to this little guy, man. He is honestly connected with me a lot, and I just love the way he looks. And I guess my special trait is him being light orange too. So shout out to the light orange crew in the small brains. But yeah, I guess mine is relatively rare. I think last time I checked on the small brains rarity, I believe he is rank 900, or I believe it's 1100. So he's pretty up there. But I definitely won't be selling him anytime soon or any of that. Just I mean, also because I like to consider myself a diamond head, but I just love the way he looks. Everything about him, he just gives me more of a biker type of vibe. With his mask, his glasses, and his cap. I just love everything about him, and just the way he looks. I'm in love with this guy.
I can imagine. I can imagine. Awesome. Thanks for sharing, guys. All right, so that I think covers our discussion on Smallverse. I hope you all found it very interesting. Now, guys, before we end the cast, I want to add I guess let's call this Alpha Round Robin. I want you to give me your key piece of alpha, or maybe it's your final thoughts. I don't know. We need to come up with a name for this segment. Maybe out there, listeners, if you have a suggestion for, the final five or something like that of Magic Hour, we're happy to take suggestions. So, Dion, what's your alpha or final thought here as we wind this conversation up?
Yeah, absolutely. My alpha or something that I think could net you a decent amount of magic. It has to do with small cars and what they mentioned briefly in the small town hall. And that is that in Q2 of this year, they are working towards small cars will have some sort of racing mechanic. And I'm not sure if this is necessarily a playable game, maybe like Mario Kart, or something that's slightly more passive. But I think acquiring small cars and holding on to them, if you have the patience for a longer 3 to 5 month hold, will probably be a pretty good trade, is all I'm going to say.
Right on. And what about you, Alan?
Honestly, I kind of threw a bunch of my alpha throughout the podcast, But I guess the key
You gotta
takeaway I
leave the
got right
audience
now.
waiting. You gotta leave the audience waiting. You know, you gotta save something for the end.
My biggest alpha I could say right now is small brains are definitely undervalued. Currently, right now, they're sitting at 2,999 magic floor price.
Which actually is down because I think they were up almost over 4. I thought at one point.
Yep, they're extremely low. Right now, I see a small brain mill listed on the marketplace for 3,150 magic. So
wow,
go grab a small brain. Go grab a small brain. These are extremely undervalued. Honestly,
what is that in ETH right now? That's 3,100.
I'd say that's about
$4,
4.8
right?
ETH. 4.8 ETH. So
4.8
roughly around. Yeah, and those are still very undervalued in my opinion. We have
4.8 ETH. That's still 4 ETH.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
It's a lot.
Just, I mean, for
It's a lot
what they will be.
It's a lot for anybody, you know?
Exactly.
I'm
It is
just
a lot
saying.
for anybody. And it is a pricey NFT to, get your hands on, but I'm telling you, this is nowhere close to what these will be. And I'm not just saying that because there's a lot of stuff coming into quarter 2. We have the magic emissions coming in as well, and the treasure farming, all that stuff that's going to be taking place. And I truly do believe quarter 2 is going to be the small versus time. It's going to be where the small verse shines, and everyone realizes that. Like, I feel like kind of right now, small birds are kind of being put to the side because Bridge World has kind of been in the highlight and the spotlight for the last couple of weeks or the month, and very shortly we're gonna see small brains get their time on the stage as well, because there's going to be a lot of stuff coming into play. And I mean, it's kind of, as I always say, it's the project that lit the fire for the treasure ecosystem, and there's no way that this small team and just everyone in the treasure ecosystem is gonna push down onto small brains and really not have anything to give with it. So I would definitely highly suggest buying a small brain. And honestly, if you can't buy a small brain, buy a small body. They're both in the same verse. They're both going to be in the same ecosystem. They're going to be played somewhat towards each other at the same
I might
time
just
as
get
well.
I might just get a small car. That might be the only thing I can afford right now.
Even a small car, just again, any way you could possibly get yourself within the small verse, I think it's a win. But definitely do not underlook the small verse. I'd have to say that for sure. There's going to be, I mean, with the information we have right now, it's not too much, but within the next month, I definitely see in the month of February, there's going to be a lot, and I mean a lot of alpha coming out very soon. And I definitely think you should grab it right now while it's on sale for sure.
Right on. Well, thanks for that, Alan. And for my final thought, I don't know if this is necessarily alpha, but I kind of want to bring it up because I think it's important for anyone out there who's listening to this podcast. The Magic ecosystem is being built by the community. And what I mean by that is I was listening to the Azuki Twitter space earlier, and I know Azuki isn't related to Magic, but being that we're talking, NFTs are the space that we're in, they're kind of related. But what they were talking about was how right now in Web3, we're all able to build together as a community, and holding these NFTs, whether it's small brains or legions or small bodies or even enjoyors or the peekaboos coming, all those different projects, holding those NFTs are allowing people to put their voice behind a community and help build it together, and it's just a lot of collaboration. And what we see in Azuki or Bored Ape Yacht Club, we see it here in Magic too. There's a huge community pushing this forward, supporting the developers, bringing ideas, working together, collaborating. I mean, you're listening to this podcast. Magic brought us together. So, if 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 anything, my piece of alpha is you're still extremely early to Magic, and buy yourself a little bag. Just keep it on the side. Stake it in the Atlas mine. See what happens. You might just enjoy it.
Definitely, yeah, 100%.
Really great point. This is
I think that's it. Oh, that's the end of the cast, guys. But next week we're going to be doing episode 4. I think topic is still up for discussion, but on Twitter we're going to post that when we start recording the podcast. And if any of you want to join and listen in while we record live, you're more than welcome to. And we'll try to answer some Q&A at the end. Maybe your question might get onto the podcast. But we look forward to you potentially joining us. So keep an eye out for that next week. We usually record on Sundays around 9 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Eastern. So that's probably when the tweet will go out. And that's all for Magic Hour.